Hello everyone, it's Carrie and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another tutorial for the Hedgehog Hollow blog. For today's video, I'm going to be using this stamp set here. This is the add-on stamp set to the My Peeps stamp set, which comes in the November 2019 kit. You get both stamp sets. This is a Christmas themed stamp set, the one that I'm working with. The other one is not so much. But I am going to be creating a one-layer card today using the holly leaf image in this set. And I've already cut and scored my card base. This is just a plain white card base. And I'm taking my image and I've applied it to my acrylic block. And I'm just simply going to be stamping this image down all over the card front to create my background. I did mask off a little bit of a section of my card front here because this is going to be a little bit of a border, if you will, for my sentiment, and we'll get to that in just a moment. I didn't get my image stamped down all the way, as you can see there, so I had to carefully line that back up and get it stamped down. I did smudge it just a smidge, but I mean, overall, once we get it colored, you really won't be able to tell too much about that. So I'm going to create my background by rotating my stamp. And if you've never done this, if you're new to card making, new to stamping, the best tip that I can give whenever I am creating a background is that you don't want to just get the image and just stamp down. You want to make sure that you're obviously doing a little bit of variation to the stamp, because that will create a different pattern and it doesn't look so so, what am I trying to say? The same. You want it to look like it's been rotated, and it's just a little bit more pleasing to the eye that way. There's a technical way to say this, but at the moment I can't think of it. But now I'm just making sure that I have enough room for my sentiment. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it here. I did go ahead and mask off again. I shouldn't have taken off my mask, but I wanted to create my border that I mentioned before, and I've just taken some post-it note to cover up that section of my stamping. And now I'm just going to take a really light gray ink and my ink blending brush, and I'm going to create my border. This will make it look like there are a couple of layers on the card front when there's actually not, by doing this masking and creating this border on the front of the card. Like I said, this is the area that my sentiment is going to be stamped in, and I wanted it to have obviously contrast to my sentiment. And this will really bring out, this will bring a little bit more different variation in the design. And like I said, it will create that illusion that there is another layer to the card when there's actually not. So, and later on, I will actually create a little bit of more of a defined line to this border later on. So we'll get that into a moment. I did kind of do this a little bit backwards. As I already colored the berries, I realized that I wanted to mask off my section here and get that border down first before I continued on with my coloring. So that's why you don't see me coloring the berries on camera, but I will show you a little bit of the holly leaves themselves here in just a moment. And I didn't get my masking lined up as perfect as I did as I did before. So I'm kind of having to fix that a little bit and restamp some of my images and kind of make it look like my stamping obviously was masked off. So I'm just kind of fixing a little bit of mistakes here. And, that goes to show you, I've been stamping for 10 years now and I still make mistakes. So it does not matter how long you've been doing this. You're human and you're going to make mistakes, and that's the beauty of being creative. There are usually ways, more times than not, to fix anything. So don't get discouraged. Just, keep persevering and it will come through. So I've fixed all my little boo-boos, I think. So we're going to move on to a little bit of Copic coloring. Like I said, the berries were already done off camera. And now I'm going to go ahead and do the holly leaves. And I want to make sure that I get a lot of contrast, because this is such a simple design and it is a one-layer card. There's not going to be any extra layers, that I want my coloring to really stand out. So I'm using two different color. I'm just doing a 2 ink color blend here. And I normally put the colors on screen. I actually forgot to do that. But I will have everything that I used in the blog post and the coordinating blog post over at the Hedgehog Hollow. So if you're wanting to know exactly what colors I used, I will have that listed in that blog post. So for my sentiment, I've finished up my coloring. So for my sentiment, I'm going to use a red color. This is the Red Lobster ink color from Lawn Fawn. And I love this red, especially for Christmas. I think it's a perfect red for Christmas. And I thought it would go really well into my little border that I created. And it really give it a little bit more contrasts. So I'm going to stamp that down. And then I'm going to stack, I did the Christmas first because I wanted to make sure that I had enough room for it at the bottom. And I knew that that Y of Mary would snuggle in really nicely into Christmas. So that's why I stamped down Christmas first. And as you can see off camera, I also used just a black tipped marker here. And I defined my edge of my border. And it really does make a big difference in the overall look to that border that I created earlier. And all I did was just take a ruler and use it as a straight edge to make sure that I was getting that nice and straight. To create a little bit more sparkle and shine to this card and a little bit more something extra, I just added a little bit of glitter to glitter shimmer pen to those berries. And it's hard to see on camera, but I think that just really adds to the simplicity of the card design. Thank you all so much for watching today. I truly appreciate it, and I will catch you all in the next video very soon.